Robert McKee writes that every scene has to have some kind of a change.
Yeah.
He calls it a value change, but I mean, essentially, you come in happy, you go out sad. You come in depressed, you go out elated.
Yeah.
How conscious are you as an actor when you go into these shows of that kind of script structure in a scene?
Well, because I'm a screenwriter as well, I'm very conscious of it. But I think that for all the young directors out there, they should assume that should be something they should be highly aware of. And if the actor isn't necessarily aware of it, then I think it's one of the director's jobs to make sure it's in there, even if it's not necessarily coming right out and saying it. But me as an actor, I'm very aware of it. I'm extremely aware of that, and I wasn't always, but that's something that I've learned, and it's something that's very interesting. Now, as a director, how important is it to you that your actors are aware of that overall kind of structure or scene by scene kind of changes and all that?
Well, it makes your job easier, certainly. Now, I'm sure you'll recall when we were doing Lucid together, you came to me. Do you recall this with a diagram, if you will?
I charted it.
Charted what? You charted
my character's journey. Kind of was an emotional. I'd done I charted a few things, but one was where I was like emotionally. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, scene by scene, all throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
It like meticulously charted, so that we could drop into scene 73
and know. Right.
And you were able to look at your chart and go, emotionally, I'm here, coming from here, going to there.
Yeah.
And of course, that kind of thing for a director to have an actor do that kind of work is tremendously useful.
Most actors will, but I'm crazy.
Because
most actors won't. That's nuts. Yeah.
Well, you don't do that anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Well, in my defense,
I think that was a great thing.
It's not. I mean, it is. It is, and if I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have been able to do the film. But yeah, when you're shooting out, obviously films are shot out of sequence, and so that kind of thing comes in very handy as a guide.
Some directors hit you with little things. Do this, do it like that, do it like that. Other directors will come and talk about the character and the motivations and the arc and the scene. And do you have a preference?
No, I don't have a preference. Any kind of interaction like that with the director, I enjoy. That just means the director's doing their job, coming at me with using words like, what did you say, intention and motivation and all that stuff. I mean, ideally, the actor's already thought. I think the actor's job is to show up already with intention and motivation down. When the actor comes into the scene and doesn't know exactly what they want out of the scene, what their character wants out of the scene, then they haven't done their job. It doesn't mean it can't be modified or improved through the collaboration with the director, but yeah, I'd like to think that at this stage I'm coming in with that stuff already done, and so it's more nuanced, more specific stuff that I'm working on with the director.
And how does it affect your performance, or affect the way you work when you feel that the director hasn't done that work? For example, you ask a director, this guy when he says this, he knows that he's lying, right? Yeah. And the director says, no, he thinks he's telling the truth, but you've done the research and you go, no, I know that to not be true. Is it shaking your confidence in a director like that? Does it affect the way you work or the way you perform?
But sometimes that kind of exchange can generate great ideas. Not to say that a director should take the opposite angle just to stir up controversy or with the actor, but sometimes that can actually inspire conversation that you end up figuring stuff. I mean, it's very likely that I've made up, that I've come in with the perception that this is how the scene is, and I found the evidence in the text and it makes sense to me, this is what's happening in the scene, and the director comes up and has a completely different idea. We're gonna talk it through, we're gonna explore each other's ideas, and in the end, we're either gonna come to some kind of agreement or it's gonna be some terrible argument. I'll go storming off to my trailer. No, that won't happen. No, I don't think it shakes my confidence. I mean, obviously you want to feel like you're working with a director and you guys share the same vision, but I think that's very much what the audition process is about, or the interview process. So the director is sussing out if the actor, because when you walk into the audition, I think you either get it or you don't. And then the director's choosing among the actors that got it, which one's the right one for the part.
Right.
but I invite that kind of, I entertain that kind of interaction. I think that's where the art, sort of the conflict of art is geneticized. A young actor, an inexperienced actor like myself, when I started off, I was bringing my theatrical training to the camera, and there's a learning curve. The first few projects is really learning how to act for the screen as opposed to for the stage. And I remember my first job ever on camera, I auditioned and I got the role, and then I was on set and I was nervous and I didn't know how the set worked. And there was all these people watching me and there was all these cameras and I didn't know what everyone was doing, and they were all standing around. And I did the scene, and and in the scene I was in my bed with a young lady, and there was a knock on the door, and I hear the knock and I react. So this is what I did for the first take. So you do the knock. And the director went, cut! And she took me aside and she was like, okay. So what you've just done is what we like to call indicating. You really wanted us to know that you heard the knock, and so you were acting, hearing a knock. And of course, it occurred to me in the moment that, like, yeah, of course I was doing that, but because I was inexperienced and I was nervous, I was unaware that I was, indicating and acting. So of course, now this is an acting lesson. So now do the knock, and I'll show you what I did for the take that we kept.
Oh, that's brilliant.
You see?
That's your genius.
Yeah, you see that? You see that?
You just gave that for free to the NSI.
The point I'm trying to make with all of this acting stuff is that sometimes an actor does need to hear the simple, you need to bring it down. She basically was telling me you need to bring it down, and it was a great direction. And there was really no other way you could tell me at that time. There was no clever way that she could have gotten me to bring it down. She just basically had to give me a quick acting lesson, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I think that inexperienced actors need that.
In a way, do you think it engenders trust in your director if you do a take that's really bad and the director comes up and goes, wow, that was really not so good?
Well, I don't think that they would have to say it like that. That would hurt my feelings because I'm a sensitive actor type. But no, yes, absolutely. If I know that the director who cast me because they thought I was right for the role is going to come up to me after a take and say, okay, we need to do that again because you were too big. You don't need to try so hard or show us so hard that you're hearing the door knock. Then yeah, I immediately go, okay. Because then I knew once we did the second or third take, I can't remember how many takes we needed of me doing that. Eventually we got it, and we moved on, and she looked at me and said, okay, you got it. And I knew, because if I didn't do it, she would have told me, because we already established that.